How you get elected? Bruce knows. Bruce has been pretty close to him.
Did you use that same guy that Bruce told me about to do your campaign stuff?
What was his name? Gabe Sterling?
No, that wasn't him.
I thought it was Gabe. There's another guy.
Well, you may have it then. This is Todd somebody.
Sounds right. Direct mail and stuff.
No, I think he does it all, but all he did for me was those robocalls.
Oh yeah, I probably did.
But I never settled him what was my cost me. And I sent him an email.
Did you get a bill?
I won, and tell me no.
It's small fry anyway.
Now I get
You sell anything?
Make those.
Call the meeting to order. Let the record reflect all council members are present, except Ms. Scott. We will move right into our department reports, starting with code. Patrick?
Sir, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This report is covering the period of October 1 through 31 of this year. Some of the highlights from the report include 52 code inspections, had 30 permits written in that month. Permitting is picking up, and so is plan review, so we've got a lot of projects coming hopefully in the near future. Had 12 new businesses registered and 20 closed. Some of those were just change of ownership, so not actual losses in the business department. The only ongoing major projects at that time was St. Anna's Church, Dunkin' Donuts, and the Walmart Distribution Center petition. The code department continued receiving business license renewals in that time, processing paperwork for alcohol licenses, researching state license requirements for businesses, and receiving and processing plans for review. Also working on cleaning up expired permits that had accumulated over time. And Debbie Atkinson attended a permit technician's training course and received her certification as a permit technician from International Code Council. The city marshal patrolled the city daily, removed 26 signs from the roadway, wrote 133 repair cleanup orders, and did re-inspections on those, investigated 7 tampering and utility and theft cases, and issued 6 citations, also represented the city municipal court. If you got any questions about the balance of the report, I was glad to try and answer them.
Patrick, you mentioned the 30 permits, and those were picking up.
Yes, sir.
What, generally speaking, are those permitting for?
Well, it ranged from anything from large projects like the Dunkin' Donuts and AT&T building to renovations and remodels or deck additions. So it runs the whole gamut.
Most of them are like remodeling type things?
Most of them are, and a good bit of them are starting to be new home construction as well.
So new home construction?
Yeah.
Good.
Any other questions? Patrick? Thank you.
Sir.
Electric and telecom, Mr. Thomas.
Yes, Mayor. MEA bill's almost 1.2 million, a little over 15 million kilowatt hours sold. And that's pretty good for the month of September. Everything, our loss is tracking around 6.6, 6.7% for the year, which is a little bit higher than I like it. We're trying to figure out where that's going. It should be down around 5. We'll figure that out. Stats for telecom, a couple things for that. We've got our 2 10 gig circuits back to Atlanta up and running at full capacity at 2 gigs each, which is great. They can be changed up to 10 gigs with a key click, and that's good news for us. They are redundant, so if one fails, the other one can take the full load of the city. We only had 16 above 350 gig, which is getting better, and about 1.87 gigabits per second. Now, most of that is going to the internet type, where we have a little over 10 gigs of throughput. So our throughput to Cogent, which is what we paid the most amount for, has actually dropped since we've gone to tie. So we're pretty good on internet capacity. McDaniel Street, three-phase tie. The wire is up, being tied over, and will be the switch gear and all. Hopefully, we can get done fixing our Christmas decorations are having some issues this week. If we can get done with that, we will get back over there and get all that tied in. Channel compression is moving along. Y'all approved that last month. The engineering's done. The stuff, or the licenses are on the machine. We've started some testing. We look to do that sometime right after the first of the year. Box customers will see very little difference in channel numbers because those channel numbers are basically made up numbers anyway. But for our standard everyday cable customer, we're going to get with Patrice and we're going to figure out how to get that across to the customer. It's going to be a change. It's going to be a big change, but the quality is going to go up, and the amount of channels, we're adding some new channels, and we are, at the same time, we will turn on our TV Anywhere, which will give the customer the ability to watch most of our channels, not all, on a mobile device. So giving some value added to the customer. LED, we've got all of 90% of Davis and Church done. Most parts of McDaniel that aren't part of the new construction done. And a few little side streets filled back in, and we're still continuing to get those LEDs out there. Got a couple of complaints, they're too bright. A couple of complaints that they're not orange, but we're working with those complaints and trying to figure that out. We are, I think, in some instances, in smaller, where our lights are pretty close and small, you got houses real close together. I think we're going to roll into a smaller 40, 50 watt light that we already have. We've already approved for basically our backyard light or our security light. Very similar to some of the ones we have here on Walton Street. And I think that is more suitable for a very small, instead of a big thoroughfare like Alcovey, Breelove, something like that, a real small neighborhood light. This other light works, but the majority of the people love them. I've had several people tell me, I can see a lot more out in the street, man. I feel a little more safe. I'll take any questions y'all may have.
Did HBO go down just out of the blue?
No, it's on the box only.
Okay.
It's part of our compression project, but it's also part of HBO and those pay channels. They want more control. And with the trap, you really can't control that channel.
So the customer has to get the box.
Yeah, and we sent a letter out, and we got very few responses to HBO. That kind of service, in my opinion, is going out the door with the Hulu, the Netflix, the Amazon Prime. Those services are taking a big bite out of those pay services.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Finance department, Logan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let's start out with the performance indicators that you have before you. If you notice, the incoming calls for utilities was the highest all year, almost 7,800. And I think that's a good note for us to talk about our new call center that has been set up. This started on November 9th, and this has, it falls under the customer service division. And just to give you a little bit of comparison, back in July, the percent of calls answered was 69.7%, and of those, 11.1% of those calls were abandoned. As of November now, we're at 85.5% of calls answered, and 4.4% of those calls have been abandoned. So it's pretty good turnaround for customer service overall. We'll continue to monitor that progress. We'll tweak a few things as we go along, but that is one of the ongoing projects, finance and customer services we're looking at. If you have any questions about the overall performance indicators, I'll just go ahead and move into the financial reports. First up, we have the cash balances as of October 31st, 2015. A total $25.3 million for all funds. Now, please keep in mind that we've got taxes coming in, so that, you know, you can kind of skew those figures there a little bit in the general fund. So, we'll move on into the revenue and expense report from there. Something to keep in mind there, like I said, the taxes are coming in, but as of the October ending period, we're showing that being down below budget. We should be at about 83%, we're 58%, but we'll be booking some more taxes through November and December. Those will show up on your subsequent reports. Intergovernmental is lagging a little bit, and that is only because we're awaiting our LMIG grant money to come in. Jeremiah's already applied for that. That's the main thing there. So overall total revenues is 67.5%, which is pretty good for October. Your expense side, we're at 86.06. One thing skewing that up a little bit in general government is the airport fuel farm, which was paid for up front there. So you'll see that being a little bit over budget, skewing those numbers slightly. Local option sales tax trending right along budget, 84% instead of the 83%, so that's good. Business tax is at 107% because the insurance premium tax came in at 104%. So that's a positive. We can move on over to the combined utility funds unless you have any questions about the general fund area. Total revenue sitting at about 88.65%. We had a budget of 35.088 for the year. We've currently collected 31.1 million so far in revenue, so a little bit ahead of this time last year, $470,000. Total expenses, holding those down, doing a good job there, 76.95%. So one thing to look at here is on our revenues. Water and sewage and electric are doing right on budget or just ahead of budget. Gas is a little bit down. That's cyclical with your weather. And then cable TV and internet right at 80% of budget. So some of those revenues look good there. Solid waste fund, 86.67% of revenue, so that's good news through October for our solid waste division. Expenses are at 75.83%, so revenues are trending ahead of expenses. That's a good thing. If you'll note on the bottom of page 6, that said solid waste expenses are at 68%. That should say 76%. So I apologize for that. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer those. We can get into any more detail.
Any questions for Logan? Thank you. Fire department.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Fire department had a total of 433 calls for service. Had 138 of those were EMS or med assist type calls. 9 were fire calls. 211 calls to the fire department. We've done 12 PR events, conducted 243 hours of training, and pending your questions.
Okay, moving to police.
Thanks, sir. The police department had 3,516 calls for service. There was 1,666 calls to the PD. Court had 267 cases, conducted 249 hours of training, and 113 Part 1 crimes, 163 Part 2 crimes, arrested 76 juveniles, arrested 76 adults and 3 juveniles, conducted 15 drug-related installation type events, and the community service folks picked up about 800 pounds of trash. Pending your questions, sir.
Okay, thank you. Moving to solid waste.
Thank you, Mayor. All of our stats really trended down from the month of October. With no significant changes. You know, we picked up a little more on the commercial business side on the tonnage, collect 426 tons of waste. Scrap tires, collect over 3.5 tons of scrap tires, but other than that, pretty much everything average out for the month of October. Take any questions you might have.
All our trucks ready for the leaf pickup.
We definitely getting them ready. Yeah, we actually using knuckle booms and everything. Yeah.
Any other questions for Dan? Thank you, Dan. Streets and Transportation, Jeremiah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just highlighting the, excuse me, the report for the month of October. On the admin side, we rented out community buildings 6 times. I think we're gonna break some records for the month of November and the month of December as far as renting that place out. Seems like every day there's 4 or 5 calls that come in, we're having to turn people away because there's no available dates there, so that's a good thing. Our fleet maintenance division completed 99 work orders in the month. Our street division did repairs on 4 streets, patches on 5 streets, 500 feet of ditch maintenance. I did some additional paving out of the airport, as well as completed the grading and paving of the Green Street part that the city maintains. We're currently all hands on deck from the street division at the airport doing a major grading project in the primary surface area out there. Hopefully this rain that's coming in tonight and tomorrow won't delay us too much. We're about another week out from being through with that project and getting rid of some of those obstructions as far as that report from the GDOT comes from. Other side of the street, we are 60 hours a week on the leaf truck. We get 1,000 calls daily about, I need my leaves picked up, and we got one truck that does this with 3 guys that are working literally 60 hours a week, and it is what it is. It's we're going by a route, you know, and getting this done as fast as possible. It's just a lot out there right now, and the hose is about 12 inches big around. It dumps about 4 times a day, about 2 tons a week. 2 tons of leaves is a lot of leaves. So we're out there doing that. Just be patient as possible. It's easier if you can bag them. It gets picked up quicker. If you got them by the curb, we'll get to them just as fast as we can get to them. Moving through the sign and marketing division, completed 63 work orders there, as well as 63 in the build maintenance division. I'll be glad to entertain any questions regarding this report or anything else.
Well, since the mayor asked about the leaf trucks, now that winter's coming on, how are we prepared for winter weather?
We are pretty well off without, are you referring to
Snow,
salt?
ice,
And,
things.
yeah, we let it come on. I mean, we keep, it's a read and react kind of thing. You know, we're prepared as you can be. If it comes tonight, we'd be just as ready if we knew it was coming a week in advance. We got plenty of salt on hand. Our push blade is actually already attached. Spreader takes 5 minutes to put in the back of the truck. We're good to go on that end.
Any other questions for Jeremiah? Thank you. Water, sewer, gas, and stormwater, Rodney.
Thanks, Mayor. Water treatment plant processed 76 million for the month of October, average 2.5 a day. Water distribution, 66 work orders, 55 being service calls, 31 emergency calls, and 38 leak repairs. Wastewater treatment plant, we treated 51.6 million, average of 1.7 a day. Wastewater collection, 17 work orders, 14 service calls, and 5 emergency calls. Natural gas division sold 10,510 MCFs for the month. So we should start seeing that number go up here. Well, I say that, we got some pretty mild weather, but work orders 34, service calls 12. Stormwater had 6 work orders, cleaned 207 grates. And training academy, we held 9 classes, 59 in attendance. If you got any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Okay, thank you, Rodney. Moving to our committee information now, finance.
Thank you, Mayor. We have 3 items on the agenda this evening. The first item being approval of purchasing policy amendment. And Mr. Probst.
Thanks, sir. So you have before you another amendment to the purchasing policy, similar to the one that you saw a couple months ago. This is in regard to the LAP certification. What we had to do is go back and add some specific monetary numbers to the guidelines of purchasing small equipment, or small purchase limits, rather, for the federal aid highway program. This is specifically in regards to section 2.0 that you see down there in the policy, that has those monetary figures to it. So we would recommend that the committee and council approve the request of the amendment to the purchasing policy to comply with DOT guidelines for the use of FAHP funded projects. And the GDOT has provided approval for the amended policy. The dedicated monetary reference is located in Appendix A. Be glad to answer any questions you might have on that.
Okay, hearing no questions, I need a motion to approve and bring it before council.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We'll present that to full council next Tuesday. The second item is approval of procurement card policy.
All right, thank you. You also have before you a P card policy that we hope to implement early next year. We'll be working with purchasing agent Chris Bailey on rolling out this platform. Essentially what this is a policy that must go along with the program to effectively administer the P-card program. I believe I've briefed the council before on plans to implement this. But what this does is it mirrors a state program, or it is a state administered program by the Department of Administrative Services, so that we can use P-cards, purchasing cards, and associated with this program is a small rebate on purchases, and it's a very centralized purchasing card program. Okay, so staff is very involved in monitoring the ins and outs of the whole program and monitoring the purchases. So with that, we needed a comprehensive policy to go along with it. Hopefully you've had a chance to read through most of this. Now this policy covers all city employees. Another one is for the elected officials we'll get to in a moment. But there's also a purchasing card agreement at the end of the policy that you see. So any city employee will sign that agreement authorizing they know what their purchasing cards can and cannot be used for. And that just kind of goes along with the rest of the policy that I lay out in detail what the flow of the process is and what it can be used for. So with that being said, staff would recommend that the committee and council approve procurement card policy so that the city may move to the use of P-cards for purchases going forward with approved city purchases.
Okay. Do we have any questions? Hearing none, I need a motion to present this to full council.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion second. All in favor, aye?
Yeah.
Motion carries. We'll bring that before the full council next Tuesday. The next item, the last item on the agenda, the P card policy for elected officials.
Thank you, sir. So this policy is a result of House Bill 192, which was recently passed by the state, which it makes elected officials follow the rest of the city's P card guidelines, but it has to be in a separate policy that we have to show to the state. So for the mayor and council, you will have to sign a separate agreement, just like the rest of the city employees, but this policy just changes a few small details of the language so that it applies to you all. Really, everything else is essentially the same as the rest of the city employee P card policy.
Have any questions?
Logan hasn't, walk me through, if I charge something on my P card as an elected official, and I don't submit a report, what happens?
Well, we can cut off your card. But no, what we would do, we would follow up. We can view what.
I get real concerned with P cards when you think about DeKalb County.
Well,
I just want to be sure elected officials are.
And that's why this policy is here, so that, everybody knows what they're dealing with. You know that, what you can and cannot purchase on the cards. You know that you have to turn in your receipts. You know that it has to be turned into to the right person. We allocate that according to the budget. So everything is on the up and up.
But if I don't do those things?
Well, then you can be turned into the council as a violator.
Who is monitoring that?
Finance and purchasing will be intimately involved in the process.
Okay. I think if I read that correctly in elected officials, it has the same verbiage as it does in employees, which says if you don't comply, you get fired.
Only on that termination agreement or the card agreement.
But I think that's what it says in the procedure there.
Right. Well, obviously you can't get fired if you're a council member, but it can become reported back to council if there is any violation.
But just walk me through, if you can, what you expect that procedure to be, how it would be followed, and how notification would be made, or that.
If we don't have anything, I believe by the end of the P card cycle, which is a 45-day cycle from you, then we can report that to the mayor, and then the mayor can then contact you for additional information.
Okay.
But we know what the charge is. It's all a matter of public record. Really, it's just a matter of you turning in your receipt.
You just don't know if it's a valid charge unless I turn something in, correct?
Well, if it's certain charges, we can block those.
Some things you can say.
We can block it, yeah. If it's not a valid charge, it can be automatically blocked by the system.
Okay.
That's the beauty of the P card. If I understand it correctly, you can set these cards up. I mean, say we know the council's going to GMA for that training. We can go in there and tell that card, okay, this card is going to be charged at the hotel or whatnot, or maybe pay for registration, which we obviously try to do that up front. But say for some reason you needed to swap a class, and that goes for the employees' B cards as well. So it's not just that open credit card that we all have now. We can control those purchases a lot better with this.
That's what I read. I just wanted to be sure. I just wanted to hear people confirm it.
And I think it ought to be really part of our policy, because finance, and y'all are employees, finance, and we're talking about council people, that just be the firm policy, that it be reported to the mayor. If you don't have the proper documentation in the 14 days.
Yeah, I
You know,
want that
then it
for-
doesn't put you on the spot, it's just that it is done,
Right.
you know.
Essentially, it's better control than a credit card, which is what we traditionally.
I would just urge you, don't give us any leniency.
President, I don't want to be in the news.
That's what I'm talking about too. That's the reason I don't want any leniency for elected officials, you know, it
Right.
needs to be strict. So with that, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that this, policy for elected officials be presented to the council for full approval.
Have a motion, have a second.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor, aye? Aye. Motion carries. We'll present that to full council next Tuesday as well. Thank you, Mayor. That concludes our agenda items for this evening.
Thank you. Airport, Mrs. Scott is not here.
Mayor, I'll take that. You have the minutes there before you from the November airport meeting. Second item that we will need some action on is the approval of the airport layout plan update agreement. Basically what this is a contract with Barge Wagner to implement the FY16 projects, one being the airport layout plan. I believe it's rather dated now, maybe back to 2000, I believe. So now basically what we're doing, since the commission's so involved, and we're going to update this plan, and hopefully we'll be able to implement it and not just put it on the shelf as Mr. Wilson and I talked about. So it's for that, and then it's also to complete the fence that's already at the airport. There's a gap, and I'll tell you the footage that's on there. Actually, the footage is not on. Anyway, we're still getting quotes for the fence, but in essence, it'll cost the city 5% of the total project cost, which looks like allocated is about $346,751. Of that, 90% will be federally funded, 5% will be state funded, and then we have our 5% match. So what you're approving tonight is the contract with Barge Wagner to start updating this airport layout plan.
And the fence will be completed, right? It will be completed all the way around there.
That's correct. Completely enclosed and secure.
Do we need a motion on that? It's run before the council. Need a motion on that for the airport committee.
I'll make a motion that we approve the airport plan update agreement as presented tonight.
Have a motion by Mr. Perkins, second by Mr. Jacob. All in favor from the airport committee?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. And that's all for the airport. We'll move into public works. That's not all. I'm sorry. Mr. Fussell.
Thank you, Mayor.
Not used to doing the airport.
Well, we're trying to change that, Mayor, in a big way. First of all, again, thank you for the total support of the council and the mayor's office in what we're doing at the airport. A year ago, as I stood here, we had a total fuel capacity at the airport of less than 500 gallons. There's tonight less than 500 gallons of fuel at the airport. So that is a very positive thing. Tomorrow morning, another 8,000 gallons will be delivered. Sales are going very well, ahead of expectations. By the end of the year, we expect the Jet A fuel truck to be up and running. So that will add to the fuel sales, so bringing revenue back in. I understand, you know, the give and the take with the airport all the time. It's money, and the city did pay for the fuel farm up front. It has been approved by the FAA, so you will be receiving 90% of that money back here very shortly. So very pleased with that. Jeremiah mentioned the earthworks project, and it's always positive to talk about what employees are doing very, very well. Jeremiah and his team took on a big project out there in the obstacle survey study and complying with that study. obstacles at an airport are a major issue, and the FAA looks at this with a lot of diligence. For years, we've not dealt with several issues out there. The earthworks project is probably the largest one. As he said, that'll be done weather permitting. We're hoping in a few short weeks that'll be completed. The FAA can then fly their approaches, and we can get positive approaches back into the Monroe Airport, which will again help our commercial aspects of the airport. So again, things are moving very, very well at the airport. We're very pleased, and I'm willing to take any questions that the council may have. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Now we'll move into Public Works.
Yes, Mayor, Public Works has one item, approval of the lawn maintenance bid results. And Jeremiah, he's going to take that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Dixon. We're seeking approval for a contract to be given out for our lawn maintenance throughout a bunch of several city sites. There were 10 businesses picked up the package, and only 4 returned bids, only 3 being complete bids, 3 companies that had the complete document packages that were required. The low bidder was North Georgia Landscaping and Erosion Control Group, LLC, who holds the current contract with the city now. We're adding several other facilities to this contract. The former contract was for $44,000 a year. The new contract will be for $51,960. And our recommendation is to approve North Georgia Landscaping and Erosion to receive this contract based on low price, the job they've done over the past couple of years. They maintain their cemeteries. Their cemeteries probably look better than they've ever looked. And they are very easy to get in touch with. If they need to come back, there's no issue them coming back and tidying something up. So it's our recommendation that they be approved the contract for the lawn maintenance throughout the city. I can take any other questions.
All right, seeing that there aren't any questions, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? With that being so, we'll recommend this approval to the council at next meeting. That's all, Mayor.
Thank you. Utilities have anything?
We don't have anything this evening, Mayor.
Public safety?
We don't have anything, Mayor.
Economic development?
Mr. Carson.
Thank you very much. Pleased to announce that Monroe was selected to be a participant in the Georgia Initiative for Community Housing Program. We're one of 5 cities. Athens, Clarke County, Evans County, Millen, Georgia, and Rockmart, Georgia are also part of the freshman class of the Georgia Initiative for Community Housing. We have an amazing local housing team. It's 19 people strong right now, and so we're excited to begin looking at our unique situation and coming up with a strategic plan long-term to address the housing needs in our community. So very excited. We'll start in 2016. In February is the first retreat. So I'll be eager to start seeing what we can come up with over the next 3 years to help guide our development when it comes to meeting the housing needs. Also, our visitor center is open. It'll be a month by the end of this week, our visitor center and museum, and we've already had over 200 visitors to date, which is incredible. And when we're there with no other special event, just open with our volunteer hours, we're averaging 10 visitors, which is significant because these are Saturdays and Thursdays and Fridays that people were coming through town that we were missing. We weren't grabbing these people and hearing their stories and connecting with them, and a lot of them are visitors. 2 weekends ago, I went to relieve the volunteer and ended up staying an extra hour because the museum had 4 people in it. And 2 ladies that were there were here from North Carolina. They're transferring with Vax Alta, and they are considering Monroe as a location. So we talked for a long time and said, we're so glad there's a visitor center because it says to us that you are welcoming to people. And so their real estate agent actually contacted me over Facebook afterwards because that was such a significant interaction that they have decided to locate here. I share that story because that's the point. That's the reason we wanted to do this, was to help people see what we have to offer in Monroe and kind of welcome them to the community. So far we're very pleased, and we think there's plenty of room to continue growing that to be even a larger asset for our community. We had Shop Small Saturday, last Saturday in downtown, and it was full of people, which we're really pleased that even after Black Friday, more people came out and filled the streets of downtown. That's really significant for our local business owners and just for our local economy. And we're gearing up now for the holidays. This Thursday evening is our Christmas parade. And we had our big meeting last night with all 75 of our entries in the parade. We're full. We've turned people away, and we've extended the parade this year. We're going to start at the Mills, and so the parade will go all along the new streetscape with the lighting and sidewalks and all the way here to past City Hall and turn on Williams. So it's 0.8 miles, but everyone was excited about it. No one's backing out because they have to walk a little farther, and we're looking forward to it. I think we're ready. We'll see. We have a lot of volunteers, and Streets and Transportation's ready to go for us. So we're looking forward to a great Christmas parade. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Parade starts at
6:30.
6:30.
6:30. And the road will shut down at 6, so. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Everything else? All right. We'll move into items of discussion for next week. We have some upcoming public hearings, a zoning variance at 1401 Alcoa Street.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This one at 1401 Alcoa Street's the ongoing request for zoning variance to remove the requirement for the sidewalks at the St. Anna's Catholic Church. Of course, our recommendation is still to deny the variance, and we had given them some additional time to come forward with some suggestions as to how to address the issue beyond the options that we've offered thus far, and I've yet to hear anything back from them since they made that request. So I still have the same recommendations that I had originally. There were 4. I'll be glad to go over them again if you'd like. One was put the sidewalks in on their property now, put them elsewhere in the city now, potentially accept a performance bond for 3 years and have them installed in the city or there within that 3-year period. And we also came up with a 4th option, which was basically a 4-year plan to allow the installation of the 1,300 linear feet of sidewalk in a quarter section at a time over a 4-year period, which would allow 325 feet of linear footage to go in the city. Also offered to them to choose the location so that we might target it towards underserved or other communities that they might like to benefit by putting them elsewhere in the city. Anyhow, those are the options that we've gone over with them so far on that. And like I said, I have yet to hear anything from them with the additional time that we've allowed them. That's that one.
Next one is a rezone annexation of 389 Jean Bell Road.
Yes, sir. And the last 2 are actually part of the same annexation request. They're just 2 parcels, so they're on 2 separate petitions. But the same owner, Darrell Perry, was looking to annex these 2 parcels. The first one is 389. The other one is known as 0 Jean Bell Road. And they were just looking to come to the city in order to maximize the development potential of the property. They don't have any specific plans for the property at this time. They do want to request a R1A zoning, which would allow them the highest density in single-family residential if they decided to go that way. And they wanted to avail themselves of the sewer system, which they're required to be in the city limits in order to do that. So that applies to both of those requests. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
So the R1A would allow up to 5 units to the acre?
Yes, that's right. And it has a 1,300 square foot minimum footprint and a minimum lot size of 7,500 square feet.
And now R1, that's what it is currently, right?
R1, well, it's county R1 now.
And that's what, 2 units to the acre?
They can have 1 acre lots on septic.
Or yield of 1?
Yes.
I'm not sure I could hear what Ms. Malcolm said. Are we suggesting that it go from certain limitations to giving it more units per?
They will yield a higher density by annexing into the city since they can utilize the sewer system. The reason why they're limited in the county where they are now is because they would have to be on septic. They wouldn't be allowed to tie into the sewer system in the city. And the county's requirements on septic is 1 acre lots.
So tell me, I'm not sure, I couldn't catch all that, but what are the limitations today and what would the limitations be under the new?
Currently, located in the county as they are, they'd have to build 1 acre lots, a yield of 1 acre.
One house per
acre. And they would be able to have up to 5 at the R1A rezone within the city limits and tie onto the sewer.
And is that your recommendation that we do that?
Yeah, the recommendation of, the recommendation of the Planning Zoning Commission and the Code Department is to approve the application.
And just why would the recommendation be to allow 5 units per acre?
Well, that's the zoning, that's the allowance in the zoning that they're requesting. It's just a density that's permitted if they were to rezone to that. They're coming into the city in order to do that. If it didn't appeal to the council, I guess you could tell them that they could get to R1 zoning, which would allow slightly lower density.
And what would that allow?
That would allow 3 units per acre. We'll allow 3 units per acre after we do the zoning text amendment in January. Right now it reads as 4, but it requires a 15,000 square foot lot, which 43,560 square feet in an acre wouldn't allow you to have 4. So it's just a text amendment that we're going to have to make. The math works out, it's 3.
But they haven't submitted any sort of layout.
No, they have no plans. They haven't submitted.
Half this track is wet.
It is.
Yeah, and a great deal of it is floodplain. So they wouldn't be able to have, I think it's 30 acres total, 31 acres total. They wouldn't be able to have 150 houses out there because there's a great deal of floodplain and
as the zoning
wetlands.
as the zoning stands now, they might not get 5.
Yeah, it'd be a significant amount of common area, wetlands, conservation type set-asides in developing that property anyways. And like I said, they don't really have any, the owner doesn't have any plans. They just want to bring it into the city so that when they do sell it, they can maximize their investment. And he also says he doesn't currently have anybody interested in the property. He just wants to offer it for sale and have that option available.
And the sewer, Larry, runs through the property right now, it looks like.
Yeah, we have a significant sewer easement.
They couldn't, but without some sort of special.
I guess my only question is that your recommendation and the planning zoning recommendation that it be the 5 units per acre rather than 3 or 4.
Well, we're recommending to approve what they've requested, which would allow up to 5 units per acre. The wetlands and the state waters and all that, they wouldn't get that yield anyhow.
But they would get that yield of certain acres.
But they wouldn't, because there's also a minimum lot size. And so, therefore, half this tract doesn't look even usable. So, while they're allowed 5 an acre, they're not going to be able to get near that. But I mean, it's hard for us to tell that because we haven't seen any sort of layout or anything. They're just trying to, he's just trying to increase the value of his property, it looks like.
And it abuts to Brooklyn Commons, which has been laying idle, you
Right.
know, and that is a very high density. A planned unit development, which is 5, is it not 5?
That's the 1A.
Oh, it's significantly higher density than that.
It's multifamily.
Yes.
It's a
Yes.
combined
It's what,
use.
It had townhouses, it had single family, it had commercial in the front, and it had like R1A density in the front, R1 density in the back. But the plan was a planned residential, well, actually a planned mixed-use development.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Okay, thank you, Pat. Yes, sir.
you.
Item number 2 is application for liquor, beer, and wine on premises consumption. Casino Fuentes, where is it? Then we'll have an approval of the chamber contract. And is that pretty standard?
Yes, sir, it is. It's $4,800 this year. Which that's based on per capita. We'll get our normal perks from the chamber. They do a good job for us.
Okay, and we have a new council meeting schedule.
Right. Just 2016 meeting schedule will adopt, just typical first and second Tuesday.
Okay, item 5 will be a resolution for the Ag Municipal Competitive Trust beneficiary.
And all that is we're updating it to add Logan's name since Mr. Prater is retiring. And so it'll be you, Mayor, the Vice Mayor, and myself, Mr. Probst, to be able to sign official documents and that information, stuff like that.
Okay. And then we'll have a approval of the CDBG's 2016 grant writing agreement.
All that is, unfortunately, we were not awarded the 2015 CDBG, so we're going to reapply. And this agreement is going to be with Allen Smith Consulting to reapply for 2016 money. And it's $3,000.
Okay. Any questions on those? If not, we have one item that require an action tonight. It's basically just a public hearing on the 2016 budget, all funds. Just, open the floor for anybody that wants to speak for or against the budget. Come to the podium. Okay. Close that part of the public hearing. Any questions from the council? No action needs to be taken tonight. Hearing none, we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Richardson, second by Ms. Malcolm, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.